Laura, that's your fault. You're my sidekick. You're supposed to remind me. Okay, anyway, now we're recording.
I wrote record in the chat. You go back and look.
I will. I see it.
Oh,
yep, in big letters. I do.
Right after we started.
Okay, all right. Well, my bad.
7:01, man.
I'll take responsibility for myself, my screw up.
Thank you.
We're recording now. You probably have to say the word, though. Say the word record.
Yes, ma'am.
Dina, you're the second in command. You need to tell me. All right. Anyway.
So he needs a verbal cue and then the marker. Yes.
Yes, that's right. See? So your marker signals the moment of success. You can't do it too much before and you can't do it too far after. Okay, so the marker, yes, good job. That's it. Way to go. Whatever it happens to be. I use that's it a lot, or yes, but it's really about timing. So when you are marking that success of whatever command you've given them, you want to make sure that it's as soon as it happens. Marker and then the treat if you're treating them. Sometimes the treat can just be a pat on the head or a pet under the neck or whatever. Okay, your reinforcers are your rewards, your treat, your praise, all of those. So you decide what works for your dog. Right now, food is a positive thing for Thanos. He's between 5 and 6 months. He loves I just literally give him his kibble. I've been using that lately, not even getting different treats. He seems perfectly happy with that. And so I've been working with those. He tends to work well for those. So if it's just their kibble, that's fine. If your dog needs a special treat, which I know some of them do, that's fine as well. You decide based on what your dog will perform for. So if your dog is insecure and you know your dog is insecure, so like Laura said, Bissell, I want to say Thistle and Thanos. If your dog, you walk up to a mirror, your dog's afraid of a mirror, there are some insecurities there. You need to be confident. Don't drag them to the mirror. You just say, oh, look at, wow, I see a dog and I see myself. And then if they're still acting unsure, walk away and reintroduce them later. But if they're insecure, you have to be the confident one. Okay. If they're hyper and they're like, and they're spazzing out, and we all have our dogs who do that, it's your job to be calm. Your voice needs to be calm. Your demeanor needs to be calm. You know, when I go to Laura's house and a dog greets me, whether it's Bissell or Wrangler, they're like, oh my God. And so I just will hold them either by their collar or just around their body part. And I'll be like, just settle. And we try to get calm. So if they're all wired, it's your job to be calm. They're going to feel that from you. If your dog is lazy, like, you need to go through a training session, you need 5 minutes with them and they're like, I don't wanna. You got to be energetic. You're yes, come on. So Thanos took a piece, took a receipt. I don't know where he got it from, but he had a receipt. Tim has to save receipts for his work. Thanos got a hold of it, and I heard Tim calling him to come to him to give him the receipt before he ate it. So I quickly went out. Well, Thanos had gotten up on they're allowed. We have it's a thing. It's not a couch. It's a, what is it?
Ottoman.
Yes. Words tonight. It's an ottoman. The dogs know they're allowed on the ottoman. That's it. So he got up on the ottoman and he had the receipt hanging out of his mouth. And when I called to him, Thanos, come. He was like so happy with himself. So I literally had to go over about 5 feet from him, and I got down on my knees and I said, yes, come, that's it, yes. And he and he was hesitating. Okay, is she gonna take it? But my excitement, the energy in my voice, he could not resist it. And he came right over to me and gave me the receipt. Now, if I'd sat there and goes, Thanos, come on, Thanos. He's looking at me now like, what? If you know your dog is being lazy or they're not responding to a command, you've got to amp it up. You've got to get the energy going so that they feel like, oh, okay, I can perform for you, or I can do whatever you want me to do. A lot of times it just takes you being more energetic than they are being. And sometimes that's what it takes to get them to bring you something, because very often they're like, oh no, I want to keep this. And he wanted, that was paper. That is a prize. He wanted that. So he did take a little bite out of it, but you can still see the receipt part. But the thing was, is he brought it to me. He brought it to me and he gave it. And it did take a little bit more effort on my part. And so very often that's what even me just bending down towards him didn't work. So that's when I got on my knees and I was like, clapping my knees and I'm like, yes, good job, bring it, yes. And then he's like, oh, okay. And he happily came to me, but it did take more energy. So keep that in mind. A lot of it, that's one of the things. So a couple of you asked for Pat to come back on. He's actually going to come to our Q&A on the 16th. And one of the things he's going to address is voice, how we address our dogs with our voice. Because some of us, not everybody has a big mouth like me. I'm a teacher. And so I just have a big mouth and I'm very firm. And when I want it, I want it. I wish it worked with my kids. It works with the dogs, but it doesn't work with my students. And I'm always saying, I have a big mouth. You should be able to hear me. I don't say that to the dogs. I say that to my kids. So I'm very firm, like, Thanos, come if I need to be, or usually I use it with the correct, like, or no. And he knows, okay, she's serious. So we're not going to talk about voice tonight, but basically like, he's going to talk about voice and how important that is. Because some of you are super sweet and you have like super sweet voices, which is awesome, except sometimes our dogs need a little bit more than a super soft, sweet voice. I'm not that sweet. Not at all. Not soft, nope.
And it's not mean.
No.
It's not mean to be firm and to get that voice a little lower.
Yep.
Mom voice, teacher voice.
Yep.
The is probably not going to do it. It's going to have to be an
yep.
To get their attention. We're not talking about this tonight. Got it.
Right. But just so you're prepared, that will be still a Q&A, but Pat will talk at the beginning and he'll be there to answer some questions. Okay, so we are going to play a game that our director likes to play. It's called What's the Command? So what I'd like you to do is, as soon as you know what the command is, type it in the chat. So everybody get their chats ready, get your fingers ready, okay? I don't know what you're going to win. We'll have to figure out the people who get the most answers or the first one or something, but you're going to type in I'm going to tell you the kind of definition and you're going to try to tell me the command. Hold on. I see 3 new messages. Let me get down there. Yes, somebody said I call it the mom voice. Yes, absolutely the mom voice. Okay, that's all. All right, are you ready? So let's see.
For a roll of poo bags, we have.
There you go. Okay. I don't want to start too easy because a lot of you should know. Okay. This tells the dog that now is the time and place to go to the bathroom. Oh, yes. Good job. Wow. So many. Okay. That was easy. All right. Good job. Let's see. Try another one. This tells the dog to get whatever use, to locate their leash and bring it. Okay, so it should be get your leash or leash, whatever you're telling your dog. Normally we say get your leash. So the leading up to getting your leash should be look, get it, bring it, yes. But the command to just get your leash is get your leash, okay? Okay, let's see. Oh, sends the dog to where it goes for the night. Oh, I'm so happy you guys are saying kennel and go to bed. Yes, because I said crate for so long. Now I'm saying, and I've been saying for a while, kennel, but I wasn't because poor Wrangler knew kennel and Laura had him before I had him. And she was saying kennel and I kept saying it's crate to him. And he's like, what? I don't even know what that. So finally I said, I called Laura. I'm like, okay, he doesn't go in. She's like, he goes into his crate beautifully. I'm like, well, what do you say? She's like, kennel. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what's in the manual. Okay. This tells the dog to leap onto something with all 4 feet, like a grooming table. Good. Okay. It is jump on. It is not up. Okay. Up is just the 2 feet. All 4 feet is jump on. Okay. So if anybody thinks it's up, make sure you just make a note of that. Okay. Because it does make a difference for the dog. Good. Tells the dog, all right, we are leaving. Look at you guys. Yes. Woohoo. Way to go. All right. This dog, oh no, this dog. This tells the dog not to sniff it, taste it, touch it, show interest in it. Nice. Very nice. Awesome. Let's see. Okay, so this should only be used when your dog is behaving, but this is when your dog might be able to say hello to somebody. Yes, nice. Make a friend. Yes. So we've talked about make a friend a lot. Please be sure that you are not allowing your dog to make a friend if they're acting like a butthead. Okay, that's the best way I can say it. If they're just being a knucklehead, and the people who see the dog may not see it, but you know that they're acting like a knucklehead, and as soon as they start to make a friend, it's going to get worse. You just say, I'm really sorry, they're working, they can't make a friend today. So easy. Practice in the mirror if you feel uncomfortable with that, saying that to somebody. Because I know our dogs are so cute, everybody wants to say hello to them. But sometimes it's so much better for our dogs if they're not making a friend, if they're learning that people are going to walk by them and they're not going to talk to them. So it's really a good thing. So really be aware. If your dog can sit and the person can come to them and your dog is just like, whatever, I don't really care, then that might be okay. But if you know your dog is going to just be like, oh my God. So tonight we were sitting somewhere and Thanos was with us. We were actually sitting outside and Thanos was sitting so nicely. And a little girl walked by and she's like, oh, mommy, look at the dog. And I thought Thanos was going to like jump up in her arms, but he sat and he looked up at her like, and she kept walking. She knew not to touch the dog. And he was like, where are you going? But he didn't get up. He didn't respond really other than to look at her. I mean, he was facing her direction. So, and I was glad she ignored him because I wouldn't have let him make a friend because at this point he does okay, but he's still a puppy. He still gets excited. So be aware if your dog is going to act like a knucklehead, what all we're doing is reinforcing that poor behavior. When they're like, oh my God, and they're like, just very unsettled, we don't want them making a friend at that point. And it's okay to say no. In fact, it's better to say no because when they get with their person, they're going to be working and their person is not going to let them make friends with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. They're just not, they don't have time. And not only that, but the dog is working. So as much as we're like, oh, look at my beautiful dog. Don't you want to pet him? No, we don't want you to pet him because it just reinforces poor behavior. So you really have to think about how's my dog going to behave if I say make a friend. And a lot of people who like to make a friend use that really high pitched voice. And what does that do to our dogs? Sends them woohoo through the roof. It's the high pitched thing. So the high pitched thing works for us and when we're training, but when people see them and they get so excited, it really can just indicate to our dog that, oh, it's okay somebody's using their high voice and it's okay that you responded like that. Even if you need to walk away, that's probably the best thing. And just say, I'm really sorry, they can't. It's okay. People might get ticked off at you, might be offended, too bad. Your job is to train the dog. Your job is to teach the dog that they should not be responding to people, not to whistles, not to anything.
When you see somebody see the dog, and they go, oh, and you hear the cooing start. Sometimes I will literally say to the dog, watch me.
Yeah.
and try to get that eye contact, get them to check in with me instead of respond to whoever's cooing. That can also give a nonverbal cue to that person that this dog is working, but it's also a reinforcement of where do you need to have your focus. Your focus needs to be on me. And our prison pups are usually pretty decent with the watch me. Bissell's amazing. Um,
Yeah.
Checking in all the time. And I'm trying to reinforce that. So if your dog does check in with you, reinforce that. Yes, good, watch me. So that they know that that is what they're supposed to do. And that's a good distractor from the, oh, look, it's a puppy.
Right, right. Yes. And walking away is not a bad thing. You just explain and exit. It'll be better for the dog in the long run, and that's always our goal. Okay, round 2. Here we go. What's the command? Oh, tells the dog to get into your vehicle. I love load, 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 load. Yes, load. Whether it's from the side or from the back, doesn't matter. Load is the command. Excellent. Next command. Directs the dog to see around for whatever it is you're designating, like you're designating something. What's the command? Yes. So definitely, and I have been guilty of this, look is they're looking at something. Watch me is they're directed at you. Okay. I used to use them sort of interchangeably. I haven't done that for a long time, but I used to use watch me and look, just interchange, like they mean the same thing, but they don't. So be sure that look is looking at whatever you're wanting them to get or look at, and watch me is watching you, because watch me could save their life someday. Let's see. This, and not all your dogs may know this, but your prison dog should, tells the dog to put its front paws on your legs when you're sitting. Yes. So it's my lap. Yep. My lap. And they should go, I believe they should go from the side of you, not always, not necessarily in the front. It should, I believe it should be from to the side. Let's see. This is so small on my phone. Okay. What is the retrieval sequence? Retrieval sequence. What do you say when you want a dog to retrieve something from beginning to end? Somebody even threw in the markers. Yes. Love it. Yes. Look, get it, bring it, hold. But the markers should be in there if they're doing it, especially our dogs who are a little reluctant. Like, look, yes, get it. Yeah. I mean, the markers are great. So that's awesome. Oh, and somebody said the name. Absolutely. You start with their name. And especially as they get older, you don't necessarily always have to go to their name, but definitely when they're younger. Good. Yes, I love it. Okay, this allows the dog to offer their front paw in greeting. Yes. So that's kind of a fun one. If your dog doesn't know it, that'd be good for you to teach it to them. Tells the dog to quit playing around. They need to calm down. Yes. Guys are so smart. The dog will do this to attract attention. Or the dog should do this to attract attention. Yes. Okay, good. The command is speak. So you might need that. You might need to say a couple of times. I know for Quinn, I have to say, Quinn, speak. And then I wait, Quinn, speak. And after it, and she's got a real girly bark. So she'll do it, but it just takes a couple of times. Some of our dogs, boom, they'll do it right away. Other dogs, it takes a couple of times. So that's a good one to practice so you know they can do it. And that's a good one to practice if you're like out somewhere and you have the dog and you're a little unsure of your surroundings and you're like, I used to say to Hess, speak. if I was like out at night and he was with me, speak, and he roof, roof. And I thought, if anybody's around, they're going to hear my dog and they're going to go away. So just a thought. The dog's position on your right, what is it called? Yes, side. Excellent. Excellent. Yes, it's your side. Jessica, I just saw all the sides. There you are. How would you teach a dog to speak? So normally I'll capitalize on when they do speak, they do bark, be like, yes, good speak. And I'll begin to really reinforce that when they are speaking. And then if it gets a little bit too much, then and as soon as they're quiet, I'm like, yes, good, quiet. So sometimes I'll encourage that if they're speaking. Some dogs don't speak. Some they have, I don't know why, they just don't. Usually they'll teach them this when they go to prison. They'll work on speak in prison. And so then when they come out, that's something we work on with our older dogs. But if my puppies bark, so Thanos is I wouldn't say he's a barker. He likes to bark. And so whenever he barks, I'm like, yes, good speak, good boy. And I'll try to get him to do it a couple more times. And then I'll be like, okay, quiet. And encourage him to not bark again. So sometimes I'll give him a treat. It just depends. And I just have to catch him because he's not consistent with it. So if
Bissell is a barker. When he startles or when he sees something he's not sure about, his response is to bark. And so I'm working on good speak. Now, quiet.
Right.
He will just sometimes out of the blue. It's like, I don't know what caused that one. And he gets the quiet. And he looks like, what? So we're working on the difference between when it's appropriate to speak and when it's not, even with him, because right now he alerts. And I think that's just part of being new out of prison and the world is new. But he is a vocal responder to new things around him.
Yes. So just like let's like we capitalize on them when they're puppies bringing things to us, same thing with barking. So if they do bark, we want to encourage it. We don't necessarily want to discourage it, but we also want to get them to quiet when we ask them to quiet. Our prison dogs, all of our prison dogs should have it. Notice I said should. So if you've never tried speak with your prison dog, try it. And they should have it. And then you tell them to quiet, and they should. And some of our dogs Wrangler was a barker. He wanted to tell you he was there. Didn't matter if you said speak or not. He just liked to talk. So, and there was a dog in our program, Brooklyn, that I raised years ago, and she was a talker. She'd come out of her crate in the morning talking, telling me, and Tim said, you need to call Janet and tell her she's barking. So I did, and Janet said, she's a golden. I said, I know. And that was her response. She's a golden retriever. They bark. Okay, I can live with that. It didn't bother me. I felt like she was telling me about her night in the crate. And then when I'd come home from school, she would tell me about her day at home without me. So yeah. Okay. Okay. Dog, you want the dog up on something just with its two paws. This is round 3. Dog up on something with just its two paws. I basically just gave you the answer. Oh, okay. So it's just up. That's it. Just up. If you're having them put their two paws, the command is up, and they should know. And sometimes I'll tap. So if it's the counter, if it's somewhere, I'll just tap it and it's up. That's it. Just the word up. Because jump on is to jump on all the way, all 4s on. So sometimes I'll practice like at a fountain. If there's a ledge at the fountain, I'll practice up on the fountain. So first we'll practice up, and then we'll practice jump on. So those are different. Up is your 2 paws. Jump on is all 4 paws. Okay, tells the dog that the command is complete or they're done and they can relax and play. So he uses for 2 things. Yes. Yep. release. So when I take the dog's vest off, we're back home from an outing, I'll take the vest off and I'll be like, release. I also use that to eat. Well, I don't use it to eat. My dog uses it to eat. The command on your left side. Nice. Yes, the command on your left side is heel, your right side is side. Good. Yes, yes, yes. If you want your dog to stop barking. Nice. Good job. You guys are so smart. So your prison dogs may only know this because the puppies mostly don't, but this is when, while the dog is in a down position, their head is on the floor or sitting on their paws. Yes. Yep. So it is head down. Down is the dog's body on the ground. That's just down. Their head down is their head is down. And that really, your older dogs will know that, or they should. So it's they're laying down on the ground and you say head down and their head either goes, sometimes it's on the paws or sometimes it's actually on the floor. Okay. So there is a difference between down and head down. Don't confuse your dog. Wow, we covered quite a few. Nice. That's very nice. Oh, this is the command for the dog, as a reminder for the dog to keep it in their jaw for a few minutes, for 30 seconds. Nice. Yes. Hold. So that's a command that if you notice, especially our younger dogs are struggling with it, it's okay to take the object, put it in their mouth, say hold, and then just hold their snout. Or if your dog is older and they're dropping it out like that, it's okay just to gently hold their snout. So I use, I'll take my clicker, I'll take my phone, just an object that they can hold in their mouth gently, even a credit card, and then hold. Oh, good hold. And then I let them go. So see how long, if your dog, the goal is for the dog to hold the object in their mouth, bring it to you and let you get a hold of it. So we have clients, recipients of our dogs who their hand gripping is not stellar for whatever reason. And so they need the dog to come over to them and allow them to get a grip on it. So it's real important that the dog can hold the object in their mouth.
Okay, a fun party trick that you can practice, hold, and it encourages a really gentle mouth, is use an egg.
Yes.
Don't do it in the middle of a dinner party, but it's a fun thing. They can hold and then they give it to you. We've done really well, except when they would try to get it and they'd slap it and it would slap into the baseboard or some such thing. Don't let them lap up the egg at that point, because then they go, hey, I get a treat if I drop it. But when you're finished, the egg itself could be the treat for most of our dogs. Not DeNozo, but
you can start off with hard-boiled eggs if you don't want the egg to, you don't want to clean up the mess. You could start off with hard-boiled eggs at first, and then move to. The goal is to move to an egg that's not been cooked. Yes. So, yeah, that's a
fun party trick. Speaking of parties, can I have 2 minutes to just holidays coming? So please, please, please be really careful as you're doing food prep. This is a really good time to practice out with your dogs so that they are not underfoot while you're cooking, while there's traffic in your kitchen. We have a blue painter's tape line down across our kitchen with Bissell because he's new. He doesn't know. The other dogs, they lined up on the runner that was there by the back door, and they knew, sit outside the kitchen. He doesn't. And so we were using an X-Pin, a gate. And today, for the first time, we were able to just take the pen down and he's staying on the right side of the blue line. But that's a out is a good one to work with in the kitchen while you're busy and while there's a lot of traffic. You don't want stuff spilled. You don't want to trip over the dog. You don't want the dog up on the counter. Be aware you've got a pie that's out cooling. These foods are great for us. They're really bad, lots of them for the dogs.
Yeah.
As we approach turkey time, turkey bones are right there with chicken bones. So that emergency number, yes, it's really nice to share. Do not share this stuff with them. It's too rich and we'll have upset dogs, upset stomachs.
Yes, and don't be afraid to stick your hand down their throat and pull out whatever they got to. Literally, like they grab a piece of pie and you are there to catch them. You open their jaw and you stick their hand around and pull it. Yeah, I mean, the goal is, because the minute they eat that and it's gone, they've won. And so, and I realize that does happen sometimes, but if you are able to catch them, you're not going to hurt them. Just open their jaws and reach in, and it will be a little messy and a little slimy, but you will have won. And usually when I'm doing that, I'm like, no. And so had to do that a few times. So just be aware, if you see them get it and you're like, oh, they got it. No, it doesn't go down that quickly. Grab them, open their jaw, reach in there, get it out, and tell them, no, this is not a thing. So yeah, just be really aware, because I think sometimes we get complacent just because, they're being so good and they're lying around. But boy, the second they think you're not watching, that's when they're going to get it.
Or if you have unexpected little ones around that in a household that doesn't normally have wee ones, and they're wandering around with their what's it in their hand. Yeah, DiNozzo's gotten a donut and a cupcake just that fast.
Yes.
Fortunately, he left the fingers, but it's one of those things that it's one of the hazards of the holidays.
Right.
So
yeah. But I can't encourage you enough. So one of the things that DiNozzo got was, my grandson had a donut in his hand. We were at grandparents' morning at breakfast, and my grandson had a donut in his hand, and I was standing there with him, and I had DiNozzo, and DiNozzo, boy, with that donut, I'm like, oh my God. And I just opened up and he's the one that he has a hard time. Like, I literally had to pry open his mouth and get my fingers in there. But if they get it, they've won, and we don't want them to win. We don't want them to think that that's okay. And you, by you saying no and not getting the food, they still win. But if you get the food and say no, we win. So very good reminder. Yeah. And the holidays coming, also traveling, just be prepared with, your dog's food, your dog's water bowl, all that kind of stuff that we don't normally think about sometimes if we don't travel a lot with a dog. And it's okay for dogs to travel. It's good for them. See how long they'll do on a car ride.
And you might consider getting a little cheap tag with the dog's name and your phone number and the New Horizons number on the back, just so that if something should happen or they get away, remember about tethering them when you travel. Yep. Nice. Good job, Dina.
Mm-hmm.
I had to take Wranglers off the collar. Aww. It was very sad. But be sure too that you're tethering the dogs, especially if you're traveling and you're at a rest area or you're at a gas station.
Yeah.
It's always important, but there it's just super important.
Yep. All right, it is 8:08. You guys did a great job on What's the Command. Give yourself a round of applause. Very nice. So if you were on the call tonight and you were going, ooh, I don't know that command, check your manual. And Ellen had put in before, if you don't have a manual, please let Kate know. If you're a breeder, let Ellen know. Okay, please let them know. It's important that you have that manual. There's so much good information in there.
Hey, if I could have a second.
Yes, Kenny, do it.
We went to the Buccaneers game 2 weeks ago, and we ran into the recipient of Elroy from the Jetsons.
Oh, Elroy, yeah.
anybody had Elroy, but this guy went on about 15 minutes about how thankful and how blessed he is that this dog has improved his life dramatically and what he can do now with Elroy. So if any of the people out there were Elroy's razors, he is very thankful.
Yes, I think Susan Napier had Elroy for a little bit. Yeah. And I don't know who else, but awesome. That's why we do this right there. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And Laura and I raised Fajita partly, and I have become friends with Fajita's mom. And she'll just text me a random text every so often and say, I just love this girl. I don't know what I would do without her. So that's why we do this. That's our why, for sure. Yeah. Love to hear those stories. Thank you, Kenny. That's awesome. And I will definitely tell Susan about Elroy, because I'm almost positive she had him for a little bit.
On the Friends of New Horizons page, I think it's today, a young woman posted about that having, I think it was Yamaha,
Yep.
that she's gotten her driver's license and the world is opening up for her. That's
Yep.
the why.
Oh, okay. Morgan had Elroy too. Yes. Yes. Awesome. Yep. Yeah. So certainly our dogs get passed around a lot, but yeah, there's certain people that have them for a certain amount of time. So we like them to hear those stories. Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. Anybody else have any comments or questions before we say good night? Anybody?
I have a quick question. I haven't been working on Shake because it says not to in the new manual. It says not to reinforce that behavior. Is that something I should be working on with him?
Interesting, because in my manual, it's one of the commands.
It's in there, but then it says in other areas not to reinforce it very much because it was creating some issues. So I'll go read it again if maybe I misread. So I was like,
I haven't
our
gotten to that part yet.
Some of our dogs will do the put their paw on you, put their paw up on you a lot. And if you've got cheap skin, like some of us that are older or some of our folks who are medically fragile, having a dog put their paw on them could be problematic.
okay.
So that's probably why it's not encouraged and not to reinforce
Right,
that
right.
behavior.
I don't do it often. I teach it, and then I don't normally go back to it very often. Sometimes
Right.
if I do like a presentation with a dog, that's one of the things kids or people like to see. More normally kids, even though most dogs can shake, they'll be like, oh, cool. But yeah, I don't, it's not something I really focus on. I just see if
Okay.
That's
they do it.
No worries. I just
probably
wanted to
why.
make sure.
Nope, that's good. Good question. So all
Think
the more
about the
reason for me
kinds of
to read through the manual.
think about the kinds of things you'd like to see in a newsletter. And if you have anything specific, any ideas or things that would be really helpful to you, that's going to get back up and running. They have talked to me about that responsibility. And I would be pleased to get feedback from you all about what you'd like to see, what would be helpful in the newsletter besides the calendar, which is one of those essential features. But if you think of something, let me know.
Okay, David, I see your comment and I will, double check that. Anything else? So we will have a Q&A on November 16th and Pat Caraciola will join us. He's been on with us before. He will address voice and then we'll do a Q&A just like we normally do. And I believe the next training in person is the 20th. Ellen, do we know location yet? Sorry, I don't remember. I haven't checked my email.
That's okay. We are doing, it's in DeLand. Hold on.
Okay.
At the Chess Park.
Okay. Okay.
It's kind of downtown DeLand. So
yes, it is. And the weather is nice, so that'll be lovely. We are looking, Kate is looking into doing the DeLand parade, Christmas parade. We were gonna try to do the Winter Park one. Doesn't look like that's gonna work out for us, but the DeLand one is nice. It's at night. And we're looking at possibly it's such a fun time. I can't even tell you. So I know some of you live away. If you can get to a Christmas parade with your dog, great. If the DeLand one here works out and you can attend, we've had tons of raisers come. We have such a good time. The dogs dress in their vests. We put lights on their vests, and we usually decorate a float. So just be aware that information will be coming, but it's really a fun time. It is at night. I think 5 or 6 o'clock is the parade normally. And so a couple of years in the past, we've had like a short training session just before. We'll just wait and see. So yeah.
Big jingle bells on
Yes.
elastic around collars. So as you're going out and about, look for those little battery lights. The dollar store has them now. They may not as we get into December. They're inexpensive and they're easy to just kind of stitch around on your dog's vest, and the battery pack sticks in the pocket, and then they're all festive. If you find or have extra lights that have batteries, bigger ones for the float, that'd be a good thing to start kind of gathering up. Or if you have extra streamer or garland,
Yeah.
donated is better than bought.
Okay, I was just checking. Okay, I think we're good. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking your time. We appreciate it. Obviously, if you have any questions after this, you can always call the office. You can text me if you have any training questions. I know Sean has said that he's willing to work with any New Horizons dogs. If you have any questions for him, he's not on tonight, but he is willing. So anyway, thank you again, and happy Thanksgiving. Not yet.
Almost.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving break is only 11 days away. Yay.
Not that she's counting.
Not counting. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Oh, Fender.